The Galactic Military Academy's Central Command buzzed with activity as monitors displayed live feeds from Training Sector 7. General Vaxthor, a towering Krillian with crystalline armor plating, stood with his 6 arms crossed, watching 2 human cadets navigate what was supposed to be an impossible gauntlet. "This is unprecedented," muttered Commander Shelfra, her tentacles twitching nervously. The simulation was designed for elite special forces, not first-year cadets. On the main screen, Cadet Elsa Reeves vaulted over a plasma barrier with disturbing ease, her movements fluid despite the 4G gravitational field pressing down on the training grounds. Behind her, Cadet James Chen slid under automated pulse fire, his reflexes operating at speeds that made the monitoring equipment recalibrate twice. "Pause the feed," General Vaxthor commanded. The room fell silent. "How long have they been in there?" 17 hours and 43 minutes, sir," responded Lieutenant Cheeks, his insectoid eyes blinking rapidly. "They've completed scenarios Alpha through Gamma. They're currently in Delta." The psychological warfare section, the general's primary set of eyes narrowed. Delta is designed to break candidates mentally over 3 days of continuous stress. "Are you telling me these Deathworlders have reached it in less than 1 rotation?" "Yes, sir." "And their vitals suggest they're not even approaching exhaustion." Vaxthor had commanded forces across 12 sectors, fought in the Andromeda incursion, and trained warriors from 73 species. Never had he seen anything like this. Humans had joined the Galactic Coalition only 5 cycles ago, and their reputation as survivors from Earth, a Class 12 Deathworld, had seemed exaggerated. Until now, on screen, Elsa crouched behind cover in a simulated urban warfare zone. Her breathing was controlled, deliberate. The scenario threw everything at her. Holographic civilians in danger, enemy combatants with superior firepower, collapsing infrastructure, and a ticking countdown to a nuclear detonation. Most species would freeze. The Krillians would charge blindly. The Vexorians would calculate for hours before acting. Elsa did something different. She sprinted directly into the chaos, using the environment with brutal efficiency. A crumbling wall became a ramp. Falling debris became weapons. She pulled 3 civilians to safety while simultaneously neutralizing 4 enemy positions. Then redirected a damaged hover vehicle into the nuclear device, creating a barrier that would contain 90% of the blast radius. Time elapsed. 4 minutes. 12 seconds. The scenario's recommended completion time was 48 hours, with acceptable failure rates at 30%. "By the 7 moons," whispered Shelfra. "She didn't just complete it, she saved everyone." "Pull up Cadet Chen's feed," Vaxthor ordered. James had entered the 0G combat maze, a 3-dimensional labyrinth designed to disorient species accustomed to directional gravity. Most cadets vomited within minutes. The elite ones adapted after hours of training. James was dancing. He used momentum and spatial awareness that seemed almost precognitive, spinning off walls, ceiling, and floor with equal facility. His body twisted through angles that should have been anatomically impossible for a human skeleton. When plasma rounds fired from automated turrets, he didn't dodge, he calculated trajectories and moved through the microsecond gaps between shots. "He's treating 0G like it's his natural environment," Kix observed, his voice tinged with disbelief. "Humans evolved in fixed gravity," Vaxthor said slowly. "This should be alien to them. With respect, General, I don't think anything is alien to them. Their planet tried to kill them for millions of years. They adapted. The training progressed. Hour 18 arrived. Both humans stood before the final challenge. The crucible. It combined every previous element into a single nightmare scenario. High gravity, extreme temperatures, hostile AI opponents, civilians in danger, and a mission objective that required split-second decision-making under impossible odds. The recommended time for completion was 72 hours. Most candidates required rest periods, medical intervention, and psychological counseling. The current record, held by a Krillian shock trooper, was 59 hours. Elsa and James exchanged a glance the first time they'd communicated during the entire exercise. No words were spoken. They simply nodded. Then they moved. It was like watching a precision machine operate at combat speed. Elsa took point, her situational awareness covering 360 degrees. James provided suppressing fire and tactical support, his marksmanship scoring 98% accuracy against moving targets in variable gravity. They communicated through gesture and movement, a language forged from shared evolutionary pressure. When Elsa's weapon jammed, James tossed her his sidearm without looking, already transitioning to hand-to-hand combat. When James got pinned by superior firepower, Elsa created a distraction by collapsing an entire section of the training structure, then extracted him through the chaos. The observation room watched in absolute silence. 37 minutes later, both humans stood at the crucible's extraction point. Mission accomplished. All objectives completed. 0 casualties. Total elapsed time: 18 hours, 37 minutes. General Vaxthor's translator struggled to process the Krillian curse he uttered. "Sir," Shelfra said quietly. The general didn't answer immediately. He watched as Elsa and James emerged from the training sector, covered in synthetic blood and carbon scoring, but walking under their own power. They weren't celebrating. They weren't even smiling. They looked ready to go again. "No," Vaxthor finally said. "We don't recalibrate. We learn, sir. For 10,000 years, we've designed our military around the assumption that we knew the limits of biological capability. We optimized for the average, prepared for the exceptional." He gestured toward the humans. "They're from a world that doesn't accept limits. A world where survival meant exceeding every biological boundary their evolution set." Chix's antennae drooped. "You're saying we've been training wrong?" "I'm saying we've been training for the galaxy we knew. The humans are teaching us about the galaxy we're going to face." Vaxthor straightened to his full 3-meter height. "Those Deathworlders just demonstrated that our elite forces training is their starting baseline. Imagine what they'll be capable of when we actually challenge them." Commander Shelfra's tentacles stopped twitching. A new expression crossed her face, something between respect and concern. "General, if 2 first-year cadets can do this, what happens when Earth sends us their actual warriors?" Vaxthor watched Elsa and James disappear into the medical bay for their mandatory post-exercise evaluation. Neither looked back at the course that had broken thousands of candidates from hundreds of worlds. "Then, Commander," he said quietly, "the galaxy had better hope humanity remains our ally. Because if these are their children, I don't want to meet their soldiers." The monitoring room fell silent, each officer contemplating the same uncomfortable truth. The Galactic Coalition had just learned that in the vast darkness of space, humanity hadn't been forged by the stars. They'd been forged by something far more terrifying. They'd been forged by Earth.